I do want to um, just document this time because I just had a conversation like for hours on the phone with one of my brothers. And so I'm talking a lot. I'm like chewing gum and kind of want to wet my mouth, my throat, and stuff. He's had out of body experiences before. He first had them when he was a child. I guess he was like 12 or 13. We had all these like different kinds of books in our home and in our house, like growing up, and we'd pick up these books. Like I'd get into literature and just all kinds of stuff. And he picked up a book and he started following these techniques for out of body, and it happened to him. I had no idea what he was talking about when I was a kid, and he like seriously like sat me down and explained what had happened. I didn't know what he was talking about, and I, although now like for a long time I clearly believe and know that that's real, I didn't know that it was this what just happened. I realized yesterday when he shared information about OBEs. We were talking about different things, but we talked about OBEs. We were messaging, and then we had a phone call after that. I realized because I need some exercises for that. I thought in previous conversations that it had to do with lucid dreaming, and it is connected to lucid dreaming. It's linked to lucid dreaming, but it's different from lucid dreaming. Some of the practices, like meditative practices and exercises involving meditation and dreams, has been getting closer. I didn't realize, but it was getting closer to out of body experiences. And so, because I've been working on maintaining the meditative state, which I guess I can describe as being half awake, half asleep, partially awake, partially asleep. And I've been practicing it with meditation, because meditation, you are tricking your body into thinking it's asleep so that you can start dreaming, right? Or having visions, like being in a trance state. It's all connected. Meditation, dreaming, lucid dreaming, experiencing existence differently from the third physical dimension that we're in. Like the third dimension's like our physical bodies, but we have a consciousness also. And in sleep, the body goes into paralysis, and a person, in a way, becomes more spirit than body, because the body goes into paralysis, but the mind is there. And if a person can practice their mind being awake while their body is asleep, their mind is awake and they're aware. They're like, hey, my body is asleep, but I'm awake. You then experience reality differently because there's a detachment from the body. And when you detach, you are also detaching from the physical realm. The physical realm is bound by the laws of physics and mathematics. And so we experience time in a linear fashion. And what I mean by that is that yesterday feels like it already happened. Yesterday doesn't feel like it's happening right now. Yesterday feels like it happened yesterday, before right now. Yesterday happened before this moment right now. And tomorrow, I haven't experienced it yet. Tomorrow hasn't happened yet. I can't experience it yet because it hasn't happened yet. Well, we experience time in that linear fashion, past, present, future, and we're kind of going in a line, past, present, future, because we are in physical bodies. We are in this third dimension of physicality. And so because of that, physical matter, like our physical bodies, are bound by those laws of physics and mathematics. And it makes us experience time in that manner. Consciousness is connected to our bodies. Consciousness uses our bodies, right, like a vehicle, to experience this physical realm, existing with physical, physical existence. But when a person detaches, a consciousness detaches from the body goes to sleep. The body goes into paralysis. It starts regulating itself. regulating its digestive system, recovering, doing all sorts of stuff, right? Resting. It also goes into paralysis. It becomes paralyzed. The mind can stay awake and the body is actually sleeping, but you're still awake. When that happens, a person is then experiencing existence outside of the physical realm. One of the things that can happen is that the past, the present, and future is experienced differently. So you can actually access the past, access the present, and access the future, and it's all there at the same time. The past doesn't feel like it already happened. The future doesn't feel like it hasn't happened yet. It's all there. And you can actually verify, for example, going into the future and then waking up fully, where you wake up, where your body wakes up. You can document the future, a future event, whatever. Pick something really unusual or experience something that there's no possible way you could ever know that that's going to happen. Document it. The mind, that realm, sometimes there's a jumbling of order. It's not like this happened and then this happened and then this happened. It's sort of time. Again, it's not like first this happened and then this happened. Sometimes the order is a little jumbled. But anyway, that can happen, and those are ways to verify and exist, a way of existing. And that's another dimension. So yeah, so that's all tied into a lot of the practices that I'm doing with meditation and lucid dreaming. And that leads into out-of-body experiences. I guess that's what I was heading towards, but what I thought was that OBEs, out-of-body experiences, were like lucid dreams, and they are connected. They lead into each other. But I thought the experience of out-of-body was more on the side of lucid dreaming, the feeling. So I ended up in a conversation with one of my brothers when he explained it to me yesterday. And I've had this explained to me before multiple times, but yesterday I truly captured what he meant by OBEs. And I have experienced pieces of that through the practice of meditation, yoga, running, swimming. Repetitive movements can put a person into a trance state. So running, you're doing the same movement basically over and over and over and over and over. And I used to run long distance. I remember I would get to a point where I didn't feel my body anymore. My body was just on auto. And it was just like my mind existing. Induced a trance state by running. Swimming also does that. Indigenous practices, dances, and activities, rhythmic things involving music, singing, chanting, and forms of dance are ways of inducing trance states, connecting with ancestors who exist in another realm that we can have contact with, because that's another thing that can happen in those realms, and so on. And they have deep insight and practice involving those realms and those practices. My brother said, no, like you're really awake, and these sensations, there's these different stages and sensations that you go through. And he described some exercises. I tried a couple of them last night, and I was able to feel the buzzing feeling. It's like this tingly, numbing feeling, and it's not the cutting off of circulation. It's not that. It's a different feeling, because I know when I come out of meditation, my hands are not asleep, or my feet haven't fallen asleep in terms of like circulation being cut off. It's not that. It's this buzzing feeling. You start feeling like you're disappearing, and it's just like this buzzing feeling. So I've experienced those kinds of things and little bits like while I'm asleep, and you kind of just wake up a little bit and go back to sleep and recall certain things that my brother was talking about. All of that meditation practice results in aiding in the experience of OBEs. So it's almost like I didn't fully realize that, or realizing the intensity of OBEs. So today I got up early and, I did a bunch of things, and then I took a nap. It was hot today. And so I ended up taking a nap. I actually slept for like 4 hours. I was dreaming. The dreams were pretty clear, the ones that I remember. And then, actually, when I fell asleep, I was doing a meditation. I was relaxing and I wasn't moving. And I was able to experience my body sleeping, like the way I was breathing and the way my body felt. Like, I know my brother said that it works for him best when he's getting up from after he took a nap, if he then goes and changing location. And I've noticed, like, when I sleep in a different direction, like my head is facing a different direction in bed, that it'll affect dreams. I'll start dreaming differently, and then also yeah, and so stuff like that. So it's noticing parallels, just little bits here and there. I didn't have a full OBE, but now I'm just like, it makes me like cry, actually, like how grateful I am for experiencing like all of this stuff, and just like how wise like ancestors were, like how wise they are, and how amazingly they've developed, an understanding and practice of the mind and the soul and all of that. It's just like, so I was on my bed, on my back, and as I was waking up, and I had a large window open, actually two large windows open, one that's just kind of bare and open. And as I was waking up, I heard, I don't know if it's like a boy outside next door or what, because I was pretty awake, but I was still dreaming. I still had that sort of visual, how you see in your dreams, like your eyes are closed, but you see stuff because you're dreaming and you see stuff. I still had that going on. That was still active. And I heard a boy say, "Mr. Woods." So I heard that and I'm like, oh wow, there's someone like right outside, like not on the property, but like, close enough for me to hear them pretty clearly, like next door or whatever. And then there was some of the dream state that was also there. And in that, it was my brother. He said, yeah, when you enter into the body of light, when you enter into, and he was saying, when I enter into the body of light. And I thought, oh, okay, enter into the body of light. And I know that it had to do with OBEs, out-of-body experiences. Then there was another voice of a person that I watch sometimes on YouTube. And he said the same thing, into the body of light, stepping into the body of light, something like that. And so that visualization, I said, okay, stepping into the body of light. I visualized. And it felt like a part of me, like my soul, was stepping into, it was like a cloud, but instead of like the whiteness of a cloud, it was like white light, like really, really, really concentrated, super, super, super bright light that was so like bright that I could just, I guess the best way to describe it would be like a cloud, like a cloud. And when I stepped into it, it felt like my soul was stepping into it. When I stepped into it, it wasn't the falling sensation. You have a dream sometimes that you're falling and you wake up. It's not that sensation. It was a sensation. I'm sorry, I'm chewing gum. And I'm just like, I'm realizing that's probably rude. It was a sensation. And then my body that was in the bed felt like it was getting, I don't know, stunned with electricity. Like electrocution. I don't know. I've never been electrocuted, but, hit by lightning, something like that, It was such a strong feeling. The only thing I can think of that would compare in terms of visualization, maybe the DeLorean in Back to the Future, the car, it would be like connected to the clock tower and there was electricity involved. and it would have to drive a certain speed, and then it would have this sort of electrocution kind of thing that would happen, and then it would be transported into a different time. It felt like my body was the DeLorean, and I realized, my goodness, I can continue. And my body, it felt like I was leaving my body, and I know that my body would be asleep. It's fine, it's breathing, it's sleeping, it's going to be fine. But I thought of the window. I had a window that was wide open. You know, it has a screen on it, but still, it was like wide open. And I just kind of felt like if it was closed and locked, there's no like, I didn't perceive danger, but I became aware of the window being open and that it's a large window, because I heard a boy's voice outside. And so I sat up. So I was awake enough to be able, to just sit up. Turned on a recording, and I wanted to document. I wanted to document, what I was experiencing, and just say, what was on my mind at that time, because had just gotten up. I called my brother to tell him, and I think the wisest and most advanced body of knowledge is that which has been preserved and passed down in indigenous populations, in my opinion, have the most advanced techniques, have the most advanced forms of preparation. It did feel a little bit scary. And I know that fear, it's important that fear not be an obstacle. I want to experience it, but it was something so big, and it was so vivid. And a part of me was so awake that it was just tremendous. And then the window being open is what threw me off. I kind of felt worried about the window being open. It kind of felt like vulnerability. And so I didn't want to fully let go and go through that electric stage of OBEs. It's been kind of hot. There's kind of like a heat wave or whatever right now. It's like hotter than usual. I know it's summertime right now, but so I had the window open, and I'm gonna fix that and have a way where it can be partially open but in a safe manner, or it's closed and locked. So I can feel totally safe when I experience that. The way is a person can hold space for a person. So people that have experience with things like out of body and meditation and so on, and they are able to sort of like guard over you and guard the energy around you, so that you're safe. Their consciousness is there and is aware of it, and they're able to protect a person, if a person needs that. Cleansing of energy is good, like burning sage and stuff beforehand. With this, I don't have a candle on, and I don't have incense burning or like sage or anything like that, because of the chances of falling asleep. Anytime I do something where I'm flat on the bed, or on just on a couch flat, I don't have anything that's on, like a candle or anything like that, for safety reasons, because I know there's a high chance that I can fall asleep, and that I do fall asleep sometimes. I just wanted to talk about it because it happened today. I haven't had a full OBE yet. I mean, in this manner, we go out of our bodies all the time when we sleep. This was the most awake one, where the start of it was experienced, and it was like, was just absolutely amazing. And right now I have the clearest picture I think that I've ever had of what it would be like. Like, I'm realizing how tremendous an OBE is. I'm just so grateful, so grateful. All the lineages and all the people that came before me that have preserved and refined those abilities. Because what it means about life, and the meaning of life, and what life is, and what we are, and what everything is. It's just a life-changing thing after a life-changing thing, one after another in this. It's like I was dancing around OBEs all this time, Like this kind of OBE, And my brother did say that he's experienced lucidity, that it's connected, which I understand. It makes sense that it would be connected to the dream world because meditation is connected to the dream world. It makes sense that OBEs would be connected to the dream world. Meditation is so important because it's a bridge, it's a tool, and a connection between different states of consciousness.